Have you ever looked at someone's life and thought, how do they make it look so effortless? Why do some people seem to attract success while others stay stuck, spinning in circles? And what if the key to turning your life around isn't some secret hack, but something ancient, tested, and quietly powerful? You may have been chasing a dream for years. Maybe it's a career that finally gives you meaning. Maybe it's financial freedom, a deep relationship, or just waking up with a sense of calm instead of anxiety. And yet, no matter how many hours you put in, no matter how much you try to push forward, something always feels off. Like there's a piece missing from the puzzle, just out of reach. Here's the hard truth. The problem may not be the world. It may not even be your circumstances. It might be how you're responding to them. This is where Stoicism enters, a philosophy. Born over 2,000 years ago, once practiced by emperors, warriors, and some of history's sharpest minds, not because it made them feel better, but because it made them better. Stoicism isn't about running away from pain or pretending life is easy. It's about building the mental armor to face it all with clarity, resilience, and purpose. In this video, you're going to explore 10 powerful Stoic lessons. Think of each one like a key designed to unlock a new way of looking at problems, handling failure, staying grounded in chaos, and staying true to your mission even when the path gets rough. These aren't shallow quotes or fleeting motivational slogans. They're tools. Tools for people who are tired of waiting and finally ready to act. And it all starts with the first lesson, a principle so simple yet so powerful, it can change the way you deal with setbacks forever. Let's begin. So now that you've seen how Stoic principles can offer real tools for change, not just wishful thinking, it's time to begin with the first lesson, one that asks a tough but essential question. Do you actually know where you're going? This isn't about chasing motivation or waiting for the right moment. This is about deliberate, purposeful action. It's about building a mindset so strong that nothing can shake it. Because if you apply these Stoic lessons, not just read them, you won't merely wish for change. You'll make change inevitable. And here's a tip. Don't skip ahead. The 10th lesson brings everything full circle. That's where it clicks, that final piece that separates those who try from those who transform. So let's dive in. Lesson 1. Get clear on what really matters. Picture this. An archer stands in a quiet field. The bow is firm in his grip. The arrow rests in place. He takes a breath, draws the string, and releases. But the arrow doesn't just miss the target. It flies completely off course. Not because he's weak, not because he's inexperienced, but because he's blindfolded. That's how so many people move through life, full of effort, full of ambition, but completely blind to where they're headed. It's like sprinting at full speed down a road without knowing the destination. You finish the day breathless, worn out, yet somehow feel like you haven't moved at all. Sound familiar? That quiet frustration creeps in even when life on the surface seems fine. You're productive, checking off boxes, showing up for responsibilities, but deep inside, there's a numbness, a sense of emptiness. That's what happens when your energy goes into things that don't truly matter to you. And here's the dangerous part. Society applauds this. It trains you to chase success without ever asking you to define it. You're handed dreams like prepackaged meals, safe, standard, and designed for mass consumption. But if you're not careful, you'll spend your whole life running someone else's race. Marcus Aurelius once said, The life of each person is what their thoughts make of it. If your thoughts are scattered, if you're unclear about what matters, your actions will follow that same chaotic pattern. And so will your results. That's why this lesson is foundational. Before anything else, get brutally honest. What truly matters to you? Not to your parents, not your friends, not the people scrolling past your life on a screen. You take a moment to reflect. Where do you really want to be in 5 years? And don't just say things like, I want to be happy. Be precise. Do you want to switch careers? Build financial independence? Raise a strong family? Explore the world? Feel more peaceful inside your own skin? Whatever it is, it's valid as long as it's yours. Now, here's the check. Look at your current life, your routines, your habits, your daily choices. Are they moving you toward that goal or away from it? Many people stay stuck in the daily hustle without ever asking, is this even worth it? They're busy, yes, but they're not growing. And they're definitely not aligning with a life that means something. The Stoics believed in living with intention to separate the essential from the noise. Seneca said it best, it's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. When you know what truly matters, you become more courageous in saying no. No to fake urgencies. No to draining social obligations. No to mindless scrolling and scattered thinking. And that makes room for powerful yeses. Yes to early mornings. Yes to learning new things. Yes to protecting your peace. Here's a habit that can anchor you. Each morning, take 5 minutes to write down the 3 most important things you want to stay focused on. This simple ritual helps you reset, realign, and reconnect with your deeper goals. Another helpful tool, create your own personal mantra. Short, clear, and energizing. Something like, my energy goes to what brings me closer to my goals. Say it aloud every day. Let it ground you when life gets noisy. Remember, clarity isn't a box you check once. It's a muscle you train daily. It's not about knowing all the answers, but about daring to ask the right questions and facing the truth of what you find. Because here's the real danger. If you don't define your path, someone else will hand you theirs. And before you know it, you'll wake up in a life that looks successful on the outside, but feels completely hollow on the inside. So define your values, focus on what matters, cut the distractions, and walk boldly in the direction of a life that's truly yours. Now that you've found your target, let's talk about how to stay steady when life tries to knock you off course. Once you're clear on what truly matters, the next challenge is staying emotionally steady when life tries to throw you off track. Because clarity alone isn't enough, you need control over your inner world. And that brings us to Lesson 2. Master your emotions before they master you have. You ever noticed how just one small moment can hijack your entire day? Maybe it was a careless comment, a missed deadline, a traffic jam, something seemingly minor, but suddenly you're irritated, restless, anxious. Your heart races, your thoughts spiral. And before you even realize it, you're reacting, snapping at someone, making a rash choice, giving up on something that mattered. That's how emotions work. If left unchecked, they can take the driver's seat and steer your day into chaos. Stoicism teaches us the exact opposite path. For the Stoics, true freedom begins the moment you're no longer a puppet of your own emotions. But here's the key. It doesn't mean you suppress what you feel. It doesn't mean you act like a robot or numb yourself. It means something more courageous, to understand your emotions, to name them, to observe them with calm, not panic, and only then decide how to respond. Epictetus captured this beautifully. It's not what happens to you that matters, but how you react to it. Think about that. Life will always bring chaos, but your reaction, that's your power. That's your choice. And if you want to do anything meaningful in this life, whether it's building a business, raising a family, or simply becoming the kind of person you respect, then you have to learn how to stay composed. Especially when it's hardest, you have to stay steady when your emotions scream for attention. You have to choose action over reaction. That is emotional mastery, and without it, no external success will ever feel stable. So, how do you practice this? First, acknowledge what you're feeling without judgment. Instead of saying, I shouldn't be angry, try saying, I'm feeling angry right now. Why? Because naming the emotion gives you distance from it. It stops it from controlling you in secret. The real danger isn't the emotion, it's acting on it without realizing it's running the show. Second, pause and breathe before you react. It may sound simple, even silly, but deep breathing signals your nervous system to calm down. It buys you space to respond with clarity instead of instinct. A Stoic doesn't explode. They choose their words and actions carefully. And sometimes the wisest response is silence. Third, zoom out. Take a mental step back. Ask yourself, will this even matter next week, next year? Most of what ruins our day won't even cross our mind a few days later. Marcus Aurelius used this exact technique. He mentally resized his problems. By doing that, he kept perspective, and perspective keeps us grounded. Fourth, prepare for emotional challenges before they hit. Think about what usually throws you off balance. Is it criticism, failure, feeling ignored? Now, mentally rehearse how you'd like to handle it next time. This Stoic exercise is called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of adversity. You imagine what might go wrong and decide in advance how you'll face it, with calm, with clarity, with grace. And finally, never forget this image. Letting your emotions drive your actions is like handing your car keys to someone untrained and unstable. You don't just lose control, you risk crashing everything you've been building. So, take the wheel back. When anger knocks, respond with peace. When fear rises, meet it with courage. When sadness flows, allow it, but don't drown in it. Emotional mastery isn't about perfection. You'll stumble. You'll overreact sometimes. That's okay. What matters is that you keep choosing reason over reactivity again and again and again. And with each choice, you build a quieter mind and a stronger life. So once you've taken control of your emotions, you've taken back the steering wheel of your life. That's real inner freedom. And from that inner freedom, something stronger begins to grow. Not the kind of strength that needs to shout or dominate, but the kind that holds steady, chooses wisely, and knows exactly when to act. That kind of strength is forged in your daily choices, especially in the quiet ones no one else sees. Lesson 3. Be consistent, not perfect. How many times have you started something with excitement, only to give Up the moment you made a mistake. Maybe it was a new workout routine, a morning habit, a personal goal to change your mindset. And then on the first day you slipped, even just a little, you thought, I guess I'm not disciplined enough. I'm not cut out for this, and you quit. But what if the problem isn't your ability? What if it's your expectations? We live in a world obsessed with instant results and picture-perfect outcomes. We're conditioned to admire those who seem to get it right from the start. The naturals, the overnight successes, the flawless performers. But Stoicism teaches something far more powerful and realistic. It's not perfection that builds greatness, it's consistency. Epictetus once said, "No great thing is created suddenly." That quote deserves to be repeated like a mantra. Everything meaningful, whether it's self-mastery, wisdom, a new skill, or a better life, takes repetition, patience, and persistence. Perfection paralyzes, but consistency, it transforms. Here's the truth you need to carry with you. You don't have to get it all right. You just have to keep going. It's not about having perfect days. It's about showing up, especially on the days you don't feel like it. Even doing the bare minimum is progress, if it means you stayed on the path. Consistency is continuing when no one is watching, when you're tired, when it's messy, when the motivation is gone. So how do you make this work in the real world? Start by setting realistic goals. Don't aim to meditate for an hour a day if that's not sustainable. Start with 5 minutes. Don't force yourself to study for 4 hours. Start with 30 focused minutes. Because habits come before intensity. First you plant, then you grow. Another essential? Learn to begin again. You're human. You will mess up. You'll miss a day, forget a step, lose momentum. But a Stoic doesn't spiral into self-blame. They observe, they reflect, and they return to the path without drama. Seneca said it best, "To err is human, to persist in error is foolish." Mistakes are part of growth. Quitting is not. Try using a visual habit tracker. Mark the days you stuck to your commitment, even in small ways. When you see that streak build up, it fuels your motivation. And if you break the streak, don't abandon the whole plan. Just start again. One off day doesn't erase 100 solid ones. And remember, motivation is temporary. It will fade. That's why you must reconnect with your why. Why did you start? What are you working toward? Remind yourself, especially on the days you feel nothing, because that's what pulls you forward when momentum isn't enough. A Stoic knows that excellence isn't a loud, flashy breakthrough. It's quiet, subtle, invisible, until one day you turn around and realize how far you've come. So from this moment on, stop chasing perfection. Choose to be consistent. Choose real progress over imaginary flawlessness, because the person who walks a little every single day will always go further than the one who sprints, burns out, and disappears. And it's that quiet, steady discipline built day by day that forms the foundation for something deeper. So after learning that consistent effort, not perfection, is what creates real transformation, we now move to something even more precious, your time. Because without mastering your relationship with time, even your best intentions can quietly slip away. Lesson 4, make time. Your greatest ally. Have you ever looked at someone and wondered, how do they get so much done while I feel like I'm barely staying afloat? You race through the day, answering messages, running errands, handling responsibilities, and then, as the evening sets in, a quiet question creeps in. what did I actually do for myself today? That feeling like time is constantly slipping through your hands isn't because your day had fewer hours. It's because your direction got blurred. It's because intention got lost in the noise. Seneca said it best. It's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. And it's true. We get trapped in the chaos of urgency, chasing the loudest problem, reacting to every ping and notification, and in doing so, we neglect the things that matter most. But Stoicism offers a simple, powerful truth. Time isn't your enemy. It's your greatest resource. And if you learn to respect it, it will become your greatest ally. That respect starts with a change in mindset. It's not about cramming more into your schedule. It's about being deliberate. It's not about racing against the clock. It's about reconnecting with the only thing you ever truly have, this moment. Let's put it in perspective. The past? Gone. Nothing you do can rewrite it. The future? It's a possibility, not a promise. So what do you really have? Now. And how you use now, that's what builds your future, moment by moment. Epictetus taught that the one thing fully under our control is the mind, and how you use your time is a direct reflection of how well your mind is trained. An anxious mind jumps back and forth, reliving yesterday, fearing tomorrow. But a stoic mind stays grounded in the present, doing the best it can right now with the people and tools at hand. So, how do you turn this principle into a powerful daily habit? First, start your day with intention. Before touching your phone, before diving into emails, before being swept into the current, pause. Take 5 quiet minutes and ask yourself, what's truly essential today? What one thing would make this day feel meaningful? Write it down. Be specific. Then protect that priority like your peace depends on it, because it absolutely does. Second, set mental boundaries. You do not need to be constantly available. You do not need to say yes to every invite, message, or favor. Your time is not a donation box. It's yours, and treating it with respect means having the courage to say no to distractions, to draining habits, to fake emergencies disguised as urgent. Third, block out what the Stoics would call sacred time. Have a goal. Want to change your life? Learn a skill? Start something meaningful? Then schedule time for it like you would an important meeting. Treat it as non-negotiable, even if you're tired, even if your motivation fades. Show time the same respect you'd show someone you deeply admire, and time will begin to show up for you in return. Another powerful practice? A daily reflection journal. At the end of your day, take a few quiet minutes and ask yourself, how did I spend my time today? What was used well? What was wasted? And what can I improve tomorrow? This isn't about judgment. It's about awareness. The Stoics believe that the examined life is the only one worth living, because you can only grow from what you're willing to truly see. And here's a reminder that many people forget. Time spent doing what you love is never wasted. This isn't just about being productive, it's about being present. Watch the sunset. Hug someone you care about. Disconnect for an hour just to sit with your thoughts. Because when productivity turns into obsession without meaning or rest, it becomes another form of slavery. Time well spent is time that nourishes your mind, your spirit, and your future. Stoic doesn't run frantically through life chasing the clock. They walk with time. They make peace with it. They use it with purpose, with clarity, and with quiet confidence. So from now on, ask yourself each morning, how can I make this day truly meaningful? And each night, what did I do today that was truly worth it? Because in the end, life isn't made of big, flashy breakthroughs. It's built from small, intentional moments, lived fully one day at a time. So when you start making time your ally, protecting it, respecting it, and using it with intention, you don't just get more done. You start to feel aligned, like you're exactly where you're meant to be, doing exactly what you're meant to do. But even with the best time management, the journey won't always go smoothly. And that brings us to the next essential skill. Lesson 5. Strengthen your mind to handle frustration. Let's be honest, most people give up far too quickly. One setback, one failed plan, one unexpected no or obstacle, and they throw in the towel. Motivation disappears, doubt creeps in, confidence collapses, and just like that, dreams are abandoned. Not because they were impossible, but because the mind wasn't trained to withstand the discomfort. Frustration is normal, but it's also one of the quietest, deadliest dream killers out there. Not because it's overwhelming, but because most people were never taught how to handle it. If you want to accomplish anything meaningful, whether it's building a business, mastering a craft, or transforming your life, there's one critical skill you must develop: the ability to face frustration without losing focus. And this is exactly where Stoicism shines. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Frustration arises when there's a gap between what you expected and what actually happened. And the more you try to control what's outside your hands, the deeper the frustration grows. But the Stoic response? Shift your focus. Control what you can. Your actions, your attitude, your decisions. That's where your real power lives. Think of mental strength like physical strength. You don't go to the gym once and expect a transformation. You show up. You sweat. You face resistance. And then you show up again the next day. Your mind works the same way. Frustration won't disappear. But you can become the kind of person who doesn't crumble when it shows up. So, how do you build that mental muscle? First, change how you view failure. Frustration often comes from believing that failure means you're not good enough. But to a Stoic, failure is just information. Every mistake is a message. Every disappointment is an opportunity to refine your path. So the next time something doesn't go your way, ask, what is this teaching me? What can I adjust or improve next time? That one shift turns pain into wisdom, and wisdom, over time, becomes unstoppable power. Second, train your mind with small, intentional doses of discomfort. Yes, you can practice frustration just like a workout. Wake up earlier than you want. Take a cold shower. Leave your phone behind for a few hours. Stand in a long line without complaining. These tiny acts teach your brain that you are in charge, not your impulses, not your cravings, not your frustrations. Third, stop setting yourself up with unrealistic expectations. This doesn't mean becoming pessimistic. It means becoming honest. Don't expect everyone to understand your vision. Don't expect your plans to go perfectly. Expect things to go sideways, not to suffer in advance, but to stay steady when they do. The Stoics called this mental preparation premeditatio malorum. the premeditation of adversity. By imagining what might go wrong, you make yourself ready, not reactive. Fourth, repeat this Stoic truth to yourself daily. This too shall pass. Frustration feels huge when you're in the middle of it, but it's almost always temporary. What makes it linger isn't the situation, it's our resistance to it. When you let yourself feel the emotion without clinging to it, it moves through you, and you stay centered. Finally, remember this: a strong mind is not a cold or numb one. It doesn't mean you stop feeling. It means you stop being ruled by what you feel. You still care, you still try, you still hope. But when frustration comes, you meet it with calm, not collapse. And the more you do that, the more unshakable you become. When you train your mind to handle frustration, you become less reactive and more resilient. You stop falling apart when things go wrong. Instead, you grow stronger, more focused, more grounded with each setback. That's not weakness, it's power in its most refined form. Now, let's talk about protecting that power. Lesson 6. Say no to anything that pulls you away from your purpose. Have you ever looked back at your day or your entire week and realized you were constantly busy, yet made almost no real progress? How many times have you said yes out of habit, even when every part of you wanted to say no? Yes to social events that drained you. Yes to conversations that went nowhere. Yes to distractions disguised as obligations. Yes to habits that quietly pulled you away from your goals. And then suddenly, the clock hits midnight, or another Monday arrives, and you wonder, why do I still feel stuck? That's one of the most dangerous illusions of modern life, feeling productive without actually moving forward. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't align with your purpose, you're also saying no to your time, your focus, your future. And most people don't even realize they're doing it until they're burned out, frustrated, and unfulfilled. Stoicism is built on the foundation of conscious choice. It's about owning your time, owning your energy, owning every step. As Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself," and saying no clearly, calmly, and consistently is an act of mastery. It proves you're steering your own ship, not being tossed around by every wave of distraction or pressure. So how do you put this into action in a real practical way? Step 1. Get crystal clear on your purpose. If you're vague about what matters, then everything will seem like a good opportunity. But clarity gives you a filter. It helps you see which path moves you forward and which one just eats up your time. Ask yourself, what do I truly want to build in the next 3 to 6 months? What project, habit, or personal transformation genuinely deserves your energy right now? Write it down. Revisit it every day like a compass. Because if you don't know your destination, every detour will feel like progress. Step 2. Start filtering every invitation, every task, every yes. Before you agree to anything new, pause and ask, will this bring me closer to my goal or pull me away from it? If it pulls you away, even just slightly, say no and say it without guilt. Refusing what doesn't serve you isn't selfish. It's not arrogance, it's clarity. It's maturity. You're not rejecting people. You're protecting your mission. Step 3. Restructure your routine. Audit your time. Where is it really going? Is it being drained by mindless scrolling? By complaint loops? By procrastination masked as rest? Cut what needs cutting and do it firmly. Then redirect that freed up energy into small, consistent actions that support your long-term vision. Because more often than not, what's holding you back isn't a lack of time. It's too many unchecked yeses to the wrong things. Here's another powerful practice: the intentional yes. Not every yes is a mistake, as long as it's intentional. Before committing to something, ask yourself, am I doing this to avoid disappointing someone, or because it truly aligns with my values? A Stoic doesn't say yes to please everyone. They say yes to serve their purpose. And that's more than enough. And when someone pushes back against your boundaries, remember this: the people who get most upset about your no are often the ones who benefited from you not having boundaries in the first place. Real freedom isn't doing everything. It's doing what matters most. It's having the courage to say no to what's loud, tempting, or convenient, so you can say yes to what's real, lasting, and powerful. From now on, end your day with this simple filter: did I say yes to what makes me stronger, or to what simply distracted me? Because every yes you give is shaping the life you're building. When you learn to say no to the things that pull you off track, you're not closing doors. You're opening the right ones. Every choice you make is a seed, and if you want to harvest real results, you must stop watering what doesn't grow, because in the end, saying no to distraction is really saying yes to the life you were meant to live. And once you find that kind of clarity, you're already winning, even if no one else sees it yet. Lesson 7. Seek self-knowledge before chasing external success. Is pause here and ask something most people never do. Why do you even want the things you want? Are your goals rooted in something real, something conscious, meaningful, and personal? Or are they echoes of outside pressure, comparison, social approval, expectations you've never stopped to question? We live in a time where everyone seems to be racing toward something. More money, more status, more freedom, more success. But how often do we ask, who am I in the middle of all this? Hardly anyone looks inward before rushing outward. And that's where Stoicism turns everything on its head. While the world shouts at you to climb, chase, collect, and prove, Stoicism gently invites you to pause, turn inward, and understand yourself first. Only then do you take the first step. Seneca said it best: a person can't go far if they don't know where they're going. And more importantly, you can't build anything lasting on the outside if your inner world is a mess. Self-knowledge is the foundation of real, meaningful success. It's what helps you choose the right battles to fight. It's what tells you which victories actually matter to you, not just to the crowd. Without it, you risk chasing a goal, reaching it, and still feeling empty. So how do you build this foundation in a real, practical way? Step 1. Create space for silence. The world is loud. Constant opinions, endless noise, people demanding your attention. In that chaos, your inner voice, the one that actually matters, gets drowned out. That's why you must carve out time every day for complete stillness. 10 minutes, no phone, no music, no distractions, just you and your thoughts. Because silence is where the soul begins to speak. Step 2, write things down. Stoics used journaling to develop self-awareness, and so can you. This isn't about writing a novel. Just reflect on your day. What did I feel today? Why did I react that way? What does that tell me about who I am? Over time, these small notes become powerful patterns. You begin to see your fears, your desires, your emotional blind spots. And with that insight comes transformation. Step 3. Observe your emotional reactions. Your emotions are messengers. When you feel angry, jealous, fearful, or frustrated, pause. Ask yourself, where did this come from? What old belief or wound triggered this? Don't suppress the emotion. Don't judge it. Just observe. Because clarity comes not from control, but from calm observation. Step 4. Be humble enough to change direction. Self-knowledge isn't about discovering some perfect, polished version of yourself. It's about discovering the truth. And sometimes that truth is uncomfortable. You might realize you've been chasing a goal out of insecurity, trying to impress someone who doesn't matter, living out a dream that isn't even yours. If that happens, change. Because starting over with clarity is far more valuable than going far in the wrong direction. Step 5. Align what you do with who you are. A Stoic lives in alignment. They don't wear masks to fit in. They don't chase applause. They act from their core, their values, their essence, their truth. And when you reach that kind of inner alignment, something powerful happens. External storms won't shake you. Success won't blind you. Criticism won't crush you. Comparison won't control you. Why? Because you know who you are. And when you know who you are, you don't get lost in the noise of the world. Think of a tree. It can only grow tall if its roots run deep. Self-knowledge is that root. It's what keeps you steady, even in the wildest storms. So don't rush to chase success. Rush to find yourself, because the greatest achievement in your life won't be something you get. It'll be the person you become. Once you know who you are, the next step is building the kind of life that reflects that truth. And for that, there's one trait more powerful than talent, inspiration, or luck. Lesson 8. Practice discipline. Even when motivation disappears, have you ever noticed how unpredictable motivation can be? One day you wake up feeling unstoppable, full of ideas, drive, and passion. You're ready to conquer the world. And then the next day, your alarm goes off and just the idea of getting out of bed feels like a battle. Suddenly, everything you were excited about yesterday becomes something you put off. You make excuses, delay, tell yourself tomorrow, and before you know it, the day is over. And what truly mattered got pushed aside again. That emotional roller coaster, totally normal. Everyone rides it. But here's the key difference between people who dream and people who do. The ones who do don't rely on motivation. They rely on discipline. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Don't waste what's left of your life worrying about how others live. Do what your nature demands now." In other words, stop waiting for the right vibe, the perfect timing, or a flash of inspiration. Just do what needs to be done, especially when you don't feel like it. Motivation is like weather. Some days are sunny, others stormy. It comes and goes without warning. But discipline, that's the ground beneath your feet. It's solid, consistent, reliable, and it's what moves you forward when motivation runs dry. So how do you turn that principle into a habit? First, shift your mindset. Stop thinking, "I need to feel like it to take action." Start thinking, "I act because I made a commitment to myself." You don't brush your teeth only when you're inspired. You do it because it matters. Your goal should be treated the same way. Don't rely on mood. Rely on your commitment. Second, build. Small, realistic routines. Don't promise yourself you'll read a book a week if you're barely managing 10 minutes a day. Start small, but start. The power isn't in doing everything, it's in doing something every single day, even when your energy is low, even when your effort isn't perfect, because imperfect consistency beats random intensity every time. Third, set fixed times for what matters. Want to study? Train? Build a personal project. Pick a specific time of day and treat it like a non-negotiable meeting. Not with a client, not with a boss, but with the most important person, you. Fourth, prepare for the hard days. They're coming, you already know that. There will be mornings you wake up exhausted, discouraged, or simply not in the mood. And every part of you will whisper, "Not today." That's exactly when discipline must speak louder. Discipline doesn't mean forcing yourself to do everything. It means doing something even when everything in you wants to quit. Because doing the minimum on a bad day is still better than doing nothing at all. Here's the secret. The more you act without needing motivation, the more you reshape your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who tries. You start seeing yourself as someone who shows up. And that shift, it changes everything. A Stoic doesn't wait to feel good before taking action. He acts because he knows that right action, repeated with discipline, builds a strong mind, a strong body, and a strong life. And here's the bonus. Once discipline becomes part of who you are, motivation starts showing up more often. Why? Because now you're seeing results. Now you're building confidence. Now you're proud of who you're becoming. So from this point forward, ask a different question. Not, do I feel like doing this? But is this aligned with the person I want to become? If the answer is yes, do it, even if you're tired, even if your feet drag, even without the fire in your eyes, because the real fire, it comes after the effort. It comes when you look back and say, I did what I said I'd do. When you stop relying on motivation and start acting from discipline, you become unstoppable, not because everything gets easier, but because you get stronger, and the true test of that strength, how you face obstacles. Lesson 9. Turn obstacles into fuel. Let me ask you, how many times have you thought about giving up the moment you hit a wall? Maybe it was an unexpected rejection, a failed project, a painful breakup, a moment where everything you planned suddenly unraveled. And in that moment, you started to question everything. Am I even good enough? Was this a mistake? Maybe I should stop. That feeling? Completely normal. Pain is intimidating. Failure stings. Struggle can leave you frozen. But here's the truth. The difference between those who give up and those who rise isn't what they face. It's what they do with what they face. Marcus Aurelius, emperor, warrior, and Stoic philosopher, once wrote a line so powerful it echoes through the centuries. What stands in the way becomes the way. It's more than just a quote. It's a radical shift in mindset, one that can completely reshape how you deal with setbacks. You don't get to control every obstacle life throws at you, but you do get to control what you make it mean. Every challenge you face can either hold you down or launch you forward. It can be an excuse to give up or an invitation to evolve. And the Stoics? They chose to evolve. They saw adversity not as punishment but as preparation. So how do you apply this mindset in your everyday life? Step 1. Change the question. When life hits you hard, don't ask, why is this happening to me? Instead ask, what is this trying to teach me? That shift moves you from victim mode into leadership mode. It turns suffering into strategy. You stop reacting and start responding with wisdom. Step 2. Write through your obstacles. Yes, write them down. Grab a pen and ask yourself, what's blocking me right now? What is this challenge teaching me that I haven't fully mastered yet? Over time, you'll start noticing a pattern. Your biggest breakthroughs often follow your hardest moments, but only if you pay attention and act with intention. Step 3. Use the obstacle as a lever. Didn't get the job? Use that time to level up your skills. Went through a painful breakup? Channel that pain into rebuilding your self-worth. Struggling with money? Let that challenge push you to learn, grow, and get creative with solutions. Don't suppress your struggle. Don't run from it. Face it and use it. Because that's what the Stoics did. They didn't let external chaos break them. They transformed that chaos into fuel. Step 4. Remember, obstacles don't just block. They reveal. They show you how much you truly want something. They expose the areas where you need to grow. And most importantly, they uncover strengths you didn't know you had. When life is easy, anyone can look confident. But when life is hard, that's when you find out who you really are. If you let it, that test can become your turning point. Finally, make this your daily mental habit. If this showed up on my path, it's part of my process. It's not about whether it's fair. It's not about whether you deserve it. It's about how you grow from it. The obstacle isn't blocking your path. It is the path and walking through it. That's what prepares you for the life you're meant to live, because nothing truly meaningful comes without resistance. And everything you're facing right now, it can be the fire that forges your next evolution. If you choose not to run, not to blame, not to collapse, but instead to learn, to adapt, to endure, to rise. A Stoic doesn't see an obstacle as the end. He sees it as the beginning, the first step towards something greater. And in the final lesson, we'll bring it all together with a truth that separates those who merely consume Stoic wisdom from those who embody it. After learning to turn your obstacles into power, there's only one thing left: move. Because transformation isn't just about perspective, it's about practice. Lesson 10. Take action. Thinking without action. Is stagnation. Ever noticed how easy it is to get trapped in your own thoughts? You reflect, you plan, you imagine possibilities, you set goals, read books, watch inspiring videos, create detailed mind maps, and somehow you're still standing in the exact same spot. Thinking is valuable, yes. Reflection sharpens clarity. But here's the truth. Thinking alone doesn't change anything. Seneca once wrote, "While we waste time hesitating, life speeds by." Overthinking is a quiet form of paralysis. You may have the smartest plan in the world, the most detailed roadmap, the most meaningful goals, but without action, all of that is just untapped potential. That's why Stoicism isn't just a philosophy of thought. It's a philosophy of practice. Epictetus said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." In other words, don't just talk about what matters, live it. Real change doesn't happen in your mind. It happens when your hands move, your feet step forward, Your choices meet the real world. So how do you move from thinking to doing? Step 1. Start small. So small it's impossible to say no. If the goal feels too big, shrink it. Want to write a book? Write just 1 page today. Want to change careers? Study for 20 minutes? Want to improve your health? Walk for 10 minutes. Don't wait for the perfect moment or ideal conditions. Use what you've got right now. Because action creates clarity, and clarity builds momentum. Step 2. Kill perfectionism. Many people stay stuck because they want to get everything right on the first try. But Stoics don't aim for perfection. They aim for progress. You don't need to know the whole path to start walking. You don't need perfect conditions to take the first step. Start messy. Fix along the way. The road reveals itself as you move forward. Step 3. Set short, specific deadlines. Replace "someday I'll do it" with "by 6 p.m. today, I'll take the first step." Put it on your calendar. Set a timer. Treat your action like a meeting with your future self and show up. Step 4. Say it out loud. Yes, literally speak it. I'm going to do this now. Hearing your own voice declare your intention flips a switch in your brain. It shifts you out of passive mode and into execution mode. Words turn thoughts into commitments. Step 5. Eliminate distractions before you begin. Don't just try to act, prepare to act. Turn off notifications. Put your phone away. Clear your space so your mind can breathe. You don't need more ideas. You need more room to act on the ones you already have. And here's one golden rule. Every time you learn something, apply it immediately. Read a helpful quote, try it, hear a new insight, write it down, and turn it into a mini task. Knowledge that isn't used quickly becomes mental clutter and eventually frustration. So remember this. It doesn't matter how many times you've thought about changing. What matters is how many times you've actually acted, because in the end, every real change starts with one thing. Not a breakthrough idea, not a wave of motivation, but a single, practical decision, one action, one step. No matter how small, it's already worth more than 1,000 intentions. And now, in our final moments, we'll bring everything full circle with a message that ties all 10 lessons together and leaves you with a decision that only you can make. After everything we've explored, there's one truth that remains. Ideas mean nothing without execution. The Stoics were never just philosophers sitting around thinking up theories. They were warriors of the mind and of action. They acted with purpose. They lived with courage. They showed up with consistency, and you can too. So here's the final invitation. Stop overthinking. Stop waiting for the right moment. Pick one thing, something you know matters. Do it right now. Then pick another and keep going, because thinking without action is just mental noise. But thinking, followed by action, backed by courage, that's where transformation begins. And if you've made it this far, truly thank you, because not many people do. In a world full of distractions and instant gratification, most give up halfway, but you stayed, you focused, you committed, you chose to invest in something that actually matters, yourself. You paused to seek knowledge. You reflected on your life. You opened yourself to the possibility of change. And that is a rare and real form of courage. Just by being here, By listening until the end, you've already placed yourself ahead of the crowd. While others scroll, you grow. While others complain, you strengthen. So, before you go, I want to ask you something. Which Stoic lesson hit you the hardest? Was there one moment that made you rethink how you've been living? Which habit, mindset, or shift are you going to apply first? Let me know in the comments. And if you're not in the mood to write much, no problem. Just drop a simple word of gratitude. That one word tells me something powerful. You stayed, and you chose growth. If this video spoke to you and you want more insights like this, lessons that are grounded, practical, and deeply meaningful, stick around. I'll leave 2 more videos right here to help you keep building a stronger mind and a life rooted in purpose. Thank you for being here. Remember this: wisdom is the path to freedom. And today, you didn't just hear it. You started walking it. I'll see you in the next one.